Welcome back to the after show for the Mindy Project. Tonight we're hitting you with 2 episodes. Season 4, episode 23 and 24. Doctors are playing softball. Leo's a child star. Mindy and Jody. What's going on? Stay right here.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Lindsey Miller. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere at Rockin' Mama Life. And I am not alone. I'm here with the gorgeous.
Oh, hello everyone. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at April Whisenhant. How's the Snapchat going?
Snapchat's still not going well.
Still not going well.
And not, by not going well, I mean non-existent.
Oh.
I can't figure it out.
Are you seeing my snaps?
No.
Oh, I'm snapping you.
Oh.
Not currently, but
I need a tutorial.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have like one of my preteen cousins teach me how to do it.
We need it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got 2 episodes tonight.
Yeah.
We missed you guys last week. But we'll jump right in.
Yeah.
So we got a lot
Lots
to do.
of softball to
and a lot
play.
of time. There's no crying in softball.
Yeah. I loved that episode. Mainly because, I loved it because I always like seeing the Delorier brothers come back in for like the most random things ever. But for a second, I think I rewound it a few times, and I probably should have just Googled it. But I thought that the one Delorier, Brendan, that Mindy used to hook up with, I was like, is that the same actor? I thought that, because he had the beard and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just didn't, like the hat and every shot was like kind of
they'll
far
do that.
away.
They'll change out an actor and be like, maybe they won't notice.
Right. I'm like, could he just not come for this shooting? So they got someone who looks a lot like him. But then later I realized that it was definitely him.
It was him. Yes. So Drew, the Princeton lover, is in town, and apparently it was more than a hookup. They're like
dating.
I'm
writing down his name right now because I literally forget his name.
I had to Google it like 5 times. Because I was like, what was his name again?
Yeah.
Because they just she calls him Coach. Right. Like, repeatedly.
What do you think? Do you like their relationship at this point? Obviously, we know more now that we've seen today's episode. But
I thought it was interesting that the whole angle was, she doesn't want she doesn't want to get embarrassed if it goes downhill again.
Right.
Because I felt like it was kind of like a very physical thing, like not a serious relationship where you'd be like, I don't want to tell my friends because I really care about this guy kind of thing. It was like, I'm just kind of hooking up with the Jersey guy on the fly.
It seemed, but then again, so many things with Mindy and in this show happen just fast without us seeing some of the details. So it's almost, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wait, if you're just, because in the beginning scenes when she's at Princeton visiting him, it's like they walk in the door and she pushes him on the bed.
They're just hooking up.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
So, and even when she talks about him coming to New York, it's like,
let's have sex.
She's like, screw it, we can just stay and have sex all day.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree. It didn't seem like the thing. I'm like, why is it
a real relationship?
Right.
Seemed like
I guess maybe just not wanting people to know all your business, but still.
I don't know. I think it would have been a little more realistic if they went the angle of he's in Jersey and I don't want people to know that I'm dating someone in Jersey, because that's a very real New York thing.
Yes. That makes sense.
You don't go to Jersey.
Yeah. By the way, I just tweeted the live link, so I'm gonna go open in the chat right now. So let us know what y'all thought.
Let us know your comments.
On the funny part with Mindy wanting to hide it or not to be embarrassed, I love the line where Tamara she walked in and she's like, Dr. Lahiri, I almost said my boss's name right there, but she's like, Dr. Lahiri, I have your weight loss suppositories here.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, you could just say that I have a package.
Yes.
I had to Google exactly what a weight loss suppository is, but then I found out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Google that if you want.
Not pretty.
No.
So he's in town. She doesn't want him to know.
Right.
The first night, Danny flakes with Leo, and she has to watch Leo, and she doesn't want Drew to meet Leo.
Yeah. That's normal.
Which I thought was appropriate for the stage of their dating. So we went to a hotel. And then the next day, she gets roped into this softball tournament, guilted in.
I love that Morgan wanted her to come so bad, even though she's terrible. But naturally, he would always want her there. But he's like, you went to all of Dr. C's stuff.
I love that one of her excuses to like why she's going to be late for Drew is that she got like pooped on by a bird.
Oh, I know.
I was
How
like,
often does that happen in New York?
I've never had it happen to me, but I mean, there's a lot of pigeons.
I had it happen to me in Alabama, so.
A friend of mine had it happen at Disneyland.
Oh, no.
It was not good.
That's just
she handled it like a champ.
Yeah.
I was like, you're impressive. My day would have been over. I would have been like, sorry, kid, we're leaving.
Yeah.
Like, I just got booped on.
I think I was by the pool, so it was fine. But
yeah,
not fun either way.
It's never fine. So she keeps blowing him off. They keep playing horribly.
But then Colette, holy crap.
Colette hates Courtney.
I hate Courtney.
Her cackle.
Don't we all hate Courtney?
The laugh on the sidelines. I think everybody felt really good when that softball went awry.
Yeah.
And knocked Courtney in the face.
I just don't see what Jody has even slightly seen in her. Like, she doesn't. I mean, other than her being a female, honestly.
I think she's like that person who, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people get like to a certain age and they feel like they're supposed to date somebody like appropriate.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like she like looks good on paper.
Yeah.
You know?
She's very, well, she does kind of go
proper.
with the like prim and proper thing that he likes, but then at the same time, oh no, that was for the other girl that I was gonna say he changed how he dressed for her, but that was for, I think,
that was for
Lauren, I think was what they called her.
Virgin.
Yes, exactly. I was
The
gonna say
virgin blogger.
It's from the girl from Walking Dead.
That virgin blogger.
But I don't know, just the way her cackle. You said it perfectly.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Like when I wrote it down because Colette is pitching. And Jody normally blows her a kiss before every pitch, but he's not watching. So she's like, Jody, how about you watch some softball? And he says, sorry, I was telling Courtney the plot of an E-Trade commercial that I found very amusing.
E-Trade commercial. Like, I can't.
Those things can be pretty hilarious, though.
Yes, but that cackle. So Courtney gets knocked in the face. They end up going to the hospital where they run into Drew, who is looking for Mindy. Because Mindy has told him that she's got caught up in a work thing.
In the twin delivery, they came out fighting, she said.
Yes. Yes. She's mediating the twins. And then Jody basically tells on Mindy that she's at a softball game.
Right. I found the interaction between the two of them interesting because he's like, Drew... He's like, I'm here to see Mindy. I have this bear claw. Of course, he had a bear claw, which was sweet.
Well, Mindy loves bear claws.
That was very sweet.
Adorable.
Yeah. But he's like, we're kind of dating. He's like, no, you're not. Jody's like, no, you're not. She would have said something. He's like, I've seen her naked.
Yeah. I thought that was an odd thing to say.
Okay, well, agree to disagree. All right, because that makes sense.
Just because you've seen someone naked doesn't mean you're dating. But so Drew ends up showing up at the game, and Mindy comes over and tells him what's going on.
Awkward a little bit. I love how she's also in the middle of a softball game and is texting the entire time. Like, it doesn't even matter.
She's terrible.
Well, true that.
And she was just filling a spot.
Yeah.
The only reason she was there is because Colette
she's not that serious
got
about
ejected from the game.
He took it like a champ, though. He was very...
He did.
I mean, because it does, even if it's weird to us because we, like, know that it's so soon at the same time, like, it's a legitimate thing that people feel like, okay, I don't want you to know, that I don't want them to know this yet, and he, you know, gives her the good, like, talk, like, I mean, how do you know if it won't blow up? You know, the traditional, like, talk that you expect from everyone. But then, you know, he saves the day a little bit.
He does. He jumps in as the coach. They're like, who's this hot guy? And she's like, he's my boyfriend.
Yeah. I don't find him
attractive.
No.
At all.
I don't think they, like,
His
look
hair
right
reminds
together.
me of a toupee.
Oh, it kind
Doesn't
of
a little
does.
bit? Like, kind of like a toupee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Oh, Rachel Kaya, I probably just butchered that. It says hello. Hello. Sorry, my internet's being really slow right now, so I just got the chat up.
So we leave it off with they actually end up winning.
Yes.
The game. Mindy
First game
makes
was forfeit.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
They made it to the finals because the dermatologists forfeited because the sun was too
Sunscreen
and
lies,
dangerous,
he
which was
said.
amazing.
Yeah.
But they end up beating the orthopedics, and Mindy makes like the final catch or whatever. Yeah.
It was a successful day. Oh, this was one of my favorite lines also, I was just looking down, was when Jody was confronting Colette, because that's a huge thing that Colette doesn't like them so much. Like, they went to that fancy hamburger joint. And I mean, who doesn't enjoy a fancy hamburger joint? But she's like, I missed, I'm sorry, or my aim was off. And he said, that's a lie, you have perfect aim. You're the only woman I've ever met that can use a urinal.
Yeah.
Gross, but also
that.
hilarious.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So that was episode 23.
Yeah.
Not really much to it. I
Not
mean,
much.
we see Mindy and Drew kind of like established, but
it was bonding. We got to see Courtney get hurt and her nose be twisted in a way that the young doctor has never seen before.
I'm so surprised she's still here.
I know. I don't think she'll be here for much longer.
Here's hoping, because episode 24, my kid stays in the picture. You weren't a huge fan of this episode. I actually really liked it.
I wasn't, only because I was like, why is this happening? Or it just seemed a little bit like a filler episode when we're so close to the end that I feel like major things should be happening.
But do you feel like it was filler given what happened at the end and kind of like the purpose of...
I still, not the very end, but I mean, well, okay, so Mindy and
Joey.
I almost said Johnny. I don't even know. Mindy and Drew, break up.
Yes.
And I thought that was just, it was like too easy.
Well, two things with
that makes sense.
One, they're talking about Leo. Leo is like the contentious issue or whatever.
Right.
And he said he put in the time with him on Saturday, but from episode 23, he didn't see Leo.
Right. So
he intentionally didn't mean Leo. So that was strange.
Right.
Or like, obviously, like at some point there had to have been another weekend in there where he actually they made a choice for her to introduce him to Leo.
They do that a lot to us, where they don't tell us that there's been a time jump, and then like we have to kind of notice it by one or two lines. But it doesn't necessarily work because of how the show works.
Because either you feel like they totally just like missed something or like messed up the backstory, or it's like, well, what the heck happened?
It was just so, like, I guess maybe to me it was just an awkward scene. Like, it was of course, like, that's a legitimate reason, like, but it's like we didn't even get to see. Normally that's something that you would see in a show.
You would
like,
see the discomfort with him with
weirdness.
Leo. Instead we just see him being like really weird in these like phone conversations, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, like, I put in my time. And
but even then it was only like one phone conversation. And just, I guess the way that they were she was like, oh, well, you know, I can't be with someone who thinks he's putting in the time with my son. And he was just kind of like, I mean, literally, that's what he did.
But I think
he
that
just,
was like
shrugged.
The guy he was, I guess.
Yeah.
But it just didn't really. It didn't seem like the same guy who gave like that pep talk at the softball game.
Right. It seemed a little easy to me. Like, just like, okay, we need to make this happen so we can make this happen. But it is television, so I can't be that picky, I guess.
But the whole point was, okay, so Leo is going to be a child star.
Yes.
Tides of Tomorrow.
Leo is beautiful, by the way.
So beautiful.
He's so
Leo's
cute.
probably 4 babies.
Yeah.
But they're all gorgeous, the quadruplets. Because they really do. They hire, you know, especially for
can only
TV.
be like, what, like an hour?
You can only be
on
set. You can only be on set total at that age, I think, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you can only work like 15-minute increments. So it's like they have to usually
have multiple babies.
It's twins or triplets or
quadruplets
or these days like septuplets. People have like 25 babies at once.
That's true. He is a lot older than we've seen him, or than he was in the last episode. So I guess maybe that was hey, he's clearly like a toddler now practically.
Yeah. So she brings him to the audition for Tides of Tomorrow, the soap opera where they're looking for an ethnic baby.
Who knew that Jeremy had been on SVU playing a fondled man? That was his character name.
A fondled man. I can't. I love Jeremy.
And his, I forget what his lines were, but they made him recite his lines from the show. Yeah. And his voice, I was like, where did that just come from? Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be New York or what, but I thought it was so
amazing.
Funny. Yeah.
He was like, that was so good. So she hires Jeremy as Leo's acting coach to teach him to cry on cue and all this stuff. And he gives her all the rundown of how to act on set and what to do, because Leo ends up getting picked.
Yeah.
And he gets picked as the hero baby,
But
which is a real thing they do.
Really?
Yeah, like they'll double book, and they'll have like a hero baby, the one they want to use, and then like a backup baby.
Oh my gosh.
Or several backup babies.
Yeah.
Just in case
That one
the babies
can't stop crying or something.
are not working.
Oh my gosh, that's sad.
Yeah, and the
I mean, I
moms
guess you
are
have to do it,
crazy.
but-
The moms are crazy.
Well, as soon as this other lady is nice to her,
No,
I'm like,
you know.
no.
No.
I don't even have kids. And I'm like, no, she is trying to trick you.
She gives her
Of course she
blush
was.
to put on the baby's cheeks,
No.
and then
They see, that's how they get you, though. They do like one nice
Yeah.
thing to make you think that they're your friend, and then
they tell you to
Sabotage
tell
it.
your script ideas to
Yeah.
the
what? Oh,
Writer.
because there was a boat accident a few months ago,
It's a
and so she
shipwreck.
had to tell her.
It's a
Yes,
shipwreck.
very different than the boat accident,
Yeah.
of course.
So Leo films it, and then Mindy has like a huge viewing party. By huge, I mean it was everybody in the office.
Yeah.
And they find out that Leo got cut, and the backup baby was given.
But he's still
Leo's
very
spot.
cute baby, but he's no Leo.
No, he's not a Leo.
But she was so sad
She
about
was
it.
so sad.
I would be too, though.
That's devastating.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Like, freaking Drew didn't even watch that
Drew
episode.
didn't even notice.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like it's not filler, because I feel like without that, it's like those little, it's kind of like the little things. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why I thought that it didn't make much sense, because I was like, oh, well, he wouldn't necessarily know what Leo looked like.
Right. And
Because
that's
I
why it's
thought
weird.
that it
How
had
would
just
he
been
know?
like
Exactly.
immediate. I'm like, I'm sure he's seen pictures, but that's a
He's
very
never
easy
spent
thing
time
to
with
mix
Leo.
up.
Yeah, those babies were similar.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
So maybe that's where I kind of got disjointed, because I remember
Yeah.
thinking that watching it, I'm like, how would he
I
even know
thought
what
the
he
same
looks
thing.
like?
I was like, he didn't meet Leo.
Yeah.
And
So I thought he
how-
had watched it and just didn't recognize him. But then obviously we learned he didn't watch it.
He just didn't watch it at all. He
Yeah.
got busy working out. But Jody watched it,
Yes, he did.
and Jody came in and
He was appalled.
was
that,
like, yeah,
yeah.
I can't believe they didn't pick Leo.
And then they have a special moment.
And then Mindy kisses him.
How happy were you? I'm watching it, I'm like, Cam and Lindsey are like rolling over in their graves right now.
I am happy, but when we get to predictions, I'll tell you why I'm not, because I
Okay.
think the timing of it is really crappy for Mindy and Jody. Because in this episode, we also see, what is his name? Forbes.
Yes.
They're Jody and Colette's brother.
Yeah.
Because Jody and Colette are still not speaking because Colette hates Courtney. And Jody's upset that Colette threw a softball at Courtney's face and hates Courtney.
Right.
So they're not talking, so they've switched the nurses, which this part I thought was a little kind of a waste.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
guess
it was funny.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, yeah, because, like, we find out that Morgan's basically, like, Mindy's, I don't know, personal
Biatch.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, give me a cake with Leo's face that says break a leg, Leo, or whatever.
Yeah. But so Colette, I guess, brings somehow Forbes comes to mediate.
No, Jeremy brought Forbes in.
Jeremy brought Forbes
because they were having all the trouble. Colette switched to
With
Jeremy, and so he's
Tamara
like,
was like, no.
yeah, he's like, I know who could fix this. Your brother Forbes. He did all this in Iraq and whatever.
Yeah.
And
I remember them having that conversation. I just didn't know, like, how Forbes then showed up.
I guess Jeremy somehow contacted him. But we learned that Colette didn't know that he had the affair with Anne Marie.
Mindy spilled
Forbes.
the beans.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about the affair. I thought, I mean, when they introduced the storyline, I thought it was like Jody tore apart the marriage of Forbes and Anne Marie.
I knew that they were still
Right?
together, but I actually thought that everyone knew besides him.
Yeah. I thought it was like a big family scandal.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't like a hush hush, I did this, nobody knows.
Exactly. I thought the same thing too.
And apparently so did Mindy, which is why she told Colette.
Right.
Who pretended like she knew, but then immediately went into Jody and was like, what the what, Jody?
I probably would have done the exact same thing. Like, oh, yeah, I definitely knew that. And then
go in and be like, what's worse than Courtney? Your brother's wife?
But I think they're bringing that up, though, to show us, because, you know, like, my problems with Jody mainly, other than me just loving Danley, my problems with Jody have been, okay, he did used to do all these terrible things. He did used to say some, like, awful things. Yeah. So I think it's their way of, like, redeeming him to the people who aren't necessarily 100% on board. It's like, okay, well, let's show that he did this terrible thing. He used to be this way, but he's not anymore, because he seems genuinely sorry, because at the time he was like in love with her, or he would say that he was, and you know.
Well, and I think it also, you know, having more explanation on the backstory, the fact that, I mean, I don't think it makes it okay, but that Forbes was overseas in Iraq, and that, you know, obviously Jody was probably there like comforting Anne Marie when she was lonely, and they probably were friendly before, and it just sort of it makes it seem like it was one of those things that just kind of innocently happened. It wasn't like Jody and Anne Marie were like going behind his back like while he's there, like, you know, in this illicit affair kind of thing, which is, I think, where your mind first goes when you're like, you slept with your brother's wife.
Well, I didn't know he was in Iraq, period.
Right.
So.
We had no idea. So we get all this information that, you know, he was overseas for a long time, and Jody was taking care of her or whatever, or looking out for her. And there was some really hysterical
taking care of her
innuendo in there where Jody was like, oh, okay.
I can't do this anymore.
I love that he uses like scripture to like tell him. He's like, Leviticus. He's like, you lied with your brother's wife. And then Jody adds that you may want to replace your kitchen island because it's been defiled, which was very informational, and then got him punched in the face.
I was looking, I'm like, I know I wrote a line down about this, but I think it was the one like right before it, whenever because Forbes was in there with Jody and Colette. And Colette was planning on telling him, but then she ends up walking out because she lovingly looks at Jody and decides she doesn't want to say anything. And Forbes says, Jody, what's gotten into her? Kimball Kinney women don't go crazy until their 40s.
Yeah, until their 40s. Aww.
I just thought it was funny.
That's sad.
I like little Forbes as a character.
So Forbes, finding out more information about Forbes, does it change how you feel about Jody?
I mean, I think it changes how I feel about Jody because of how he now acts about it. Like, he
super remorseful.
Exactly. He seems genuinely very sorry. He seems like he knows that it shouldn't have happened, and so that changes how I feel about him for sure. Because it's different years.
I could have been like, I don't know, what's her name, Lisa Manzo or whatever, like locked in prison for like, I don't even care for a crime, like, still not okay.
No, 100%.
Never okay. Like, your sister, you know, like your brother, that's just.
I can't even imagine. Like, I love my brother-in-law so much. He's wonderful. And like, but see, we spend like time occasionally together, just the two of us, but I can't, like, I'm like, how do people even think about that kind of stuff?
No, you don't.
No.
Like, ew.
It's disgusting.
No, like, I love my brothers-in-law, but no.
Mm-mm. It's a bad thing.
Not okay. Never okay.
Yep.
So here's the thing. Jody and Mindy. There's the kiss. Initiated by Mindy. We've seen Jody pining after Mindy for like all this time. What do you think? And it's kind of, this is why I really liked this episode, because they leave you in that moment where it's like, you're in the moment before.
Yeah.
Like, you want to know what happens after, like, how they react.
Yeah. Well, she kind of, like, pulled away and then looked up at him like,
I know. And so it's like, do you think in, Mindy Project fashion, they'll jump to somewhere else? Or, like, I hope they come back, and I know they won't because the show never does. But, like, I want to come back episode 25 in that moment and see what happens.
I feel like they'll come back like at the office the next day. That'll be the beginning of next week's episode. But even though and it'll be like conversations with other people about what happened. Like her talking to Morgan about it, and maybe him telling Colette, or who knows. But I feel like but I just wish we could see like that moment right there.
That's one of the things that like infuriates me about the Mindy Project. Yeah. That you never really see that like moment after. You have to kind of like deduce what happened in between.
Even though I'm sure it would probably just be her being like, oh god, and then doing the same thing, and then they would leave. But still, I want to see it.
I want to see that in a dialogue.
I know.
But okay, so predictions.
Yeah.
And now,
predictions.
AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Oh, I was making sure I tweeted the right thing. Okay, good. I don't even know.
Right? There's nothing else in this episode.
No, yeah,
that's I was like, I feel like we went so fast.
No, that's perfect. I just don't know. Okay, well, see, first you say why you didn't like that, why you think it's bad timing.
Okay, so I think because we get the Jody and Forbes confrontation finally, like Jody's finally coming to face what he did with Forbes, and you can see that he's really... Jody has changed. We've seen Jody change in terms of being like really remorseful for these actions that he's done before, and sort of wanting to be this stand-up guy now. And then we have the conversation with him and Colette about how the reason she hates Courtney is because she thinks that he deserves someone way better who's like real and like committed and like
special
really
girl,
like special, and who's like right for him and for life and for like something real and substantial and like lifelong. And I think that the timing of Mindy kissing him is gonna come in this moment where he's just full of like guilt and remorse and questioning, and I think he's gonna be eaten away at the guilt of like being in a relationship with Courtney and cheating on her or whatever, or having these improper feelings towards Mindy while he's in this relationship with Courtney. And I'm afraid that will deter him from actually like pursuing stuff with Mindy because of that. Yeah. And given Mindy's track record of not necessarily being the most serious, stable person in relationships, like...
That makes...
I don't know.
See, I didn't even think that, actually, but I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, they're not going to give it to us this easily. No. Like, it's not just going to be like, okay, I wake up with Courtney and now we're together. And I keep thinking... But, so that's a great point. I kind of agree with you, actually. And that... But I keep going back to, we know that Danny's going to be in the finale. So I'm like, is he... I still have my theory of him coming back and be like, go to Italy with me, even though it would be weird at this point because he hasn't been in so many episodes. But then there's the other part of me that's like, I wonder if it's him like giving a blessing of sorts.
No.
Like, no, you don't think that.
I don't think the Danny we know would ever give his blessing.
But I almost think he could if you saw them interact together.
I think the only way we would see it, I don't think we would see him give a blessing, but I think we could see Danny come back and say that he's getting married to this chick that he's been dating. Or something like that. And Mindy being like...
my stomach just slipped when you said that because it made me sad.
Because I think that's a more realistic thing. I really don't think Danny is going to come back to Mindy and be like, I'm sorry, I should have blah, 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 blah. I think we're going to see Danny marry somebody else and come back and tell Mindy.
Well, because if he... But then, I don't know, but then he said in the article that he is coming back for the next season. So it's like, if he came back in a romantic, for Mindy way, he would definitely... have to like consistently have to be on the next season.
But how much more interesting would the writing and the shows be and the topics be if we see him come back and he has some horrific wife who now is Leo's stepmom, and we see that interaction, because that's realistic and that's hysterical. Seeing like Mindy trying to navigate this like woman who's like trying to be Leo's like second mommy. I don't know. I see that storyline being more feasible and possibly more entertaining, not as like beating a dead horse with like Danny, Mindy, Mindy, Jody, Mindy,
and even
Danny.
Then they could still end up together because they could just realize they didn't love the other one. But no, I like that. Well, I don't like it, but I like it. I just want to know where they're gonna go with that, because I think I think it would have some effect on the Jody thing. But I just think that they're not going to give it to us easily, and
no,
it's something's going to happen.
He's going to go into some like guilt thing, and I don't know what's going to happen.
I guess we'll see.
But sadly, I don't think it's going to be Jody and Mindy.
Happily ever after. Not right now. Not yet, anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, tell the good people, April.
Yeah.
Where they can find you.
Y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant. Only 2 episodes left.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
2 episodes. It's been like the longest season ever.
Right. Long,
like,
but great.
So long.
Yeah.
So good. So much stuff. You guys can find me, Lindsey Miller, at Rockin' Mama Life everywhere. And make sure that you find us all at AfterBuzz TV. Go to iTunes, SoundCloud, what's the other one? YouTube. Rate, comment, subscribe. Let us know your feedback. We love hearing what you guys have to say.
Oh, yeah.
That's all we got for you.
See y'all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.